Alright, I just wanted to go over the calibration and how we go about making sure that we're actually getting pretty good cuts on the Uninet iColor 250. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling up I was going to kind of show you what I did to go ahead and calibrate my machine. So I do have, I believe, let's see here, this is where I found out that I was having some issues. So I went ahead and created this cute little sheet, and I printed it off, and I will show you what it looked like um, after I printed this cute little sheet here. But if you notice, I have them all offset, evenly spaced out, really cute looking, and for some reason the printer cutter would print it. It looked amazing printed, but when it was cutting it, it was literally cutting it right along the right side, like right next to the image. I mean, it was literally maybe, 3 or 4 hair lengths width close. Okay, and the left side of the images was like a huge thing, and it honestly looked like the actual image, which I think these are locked. Yeah, it looked like the image was just way too low a little bit and then to the right a little bit too much, and it wasn't evenly pressed. And so I tried the print calibration, which this is the iColor print hub. It does come with the iColor custom cut with the Uninet system, and this here was at first the first day that I tried it, it was a headache, okay, because I read the manual and I tried every which way to do this, and I will show you my actual cut. The first day me and my husband tried this, I probably spent a good, probably about 15 to 20 circles. And so when you hit send this test print, what this does is this just prints this entire thing with these cute little lines, and then you have to adjust it, which I have a Silhouette Studios and a Cricut, so I'm very used to having to calibrate that to make sure the cut's correct. And I had to change the settings up and back and forth, back and forth. I kept on writing down exactly how I was changing them, and I would cut it again. And the cut seemed like it finally had moved up enough to where it wasn't completely too low, but the right to left horizontal offset was just awful. And I probably seriously spent about a good 20 sheets and a ton of wasted ink, doing this. And then I finally did decide to go ahead and actually cut down the image, because this was a full image that I was doing, 4x6 that I was cutting. So I was wasting a ton of ink and a ton of sticker space and just paper. And I use the BOPP label paper because of the fact that I want them to be a very thick sticker. So if you want to go ahead and apply them to cell phones or tumblers or whatever, or be more water resistant on the back side of things, as well as more durable. But the problem is this is very expensive paper, label paper, and so it was getting really costly, but it was like wasting all this ink as well. So what I ended up doing is I just ended up just taking a majority of these off and just cutting these off. And this is actually fairly easy. This does remind me about Silhouette Studios, where it's just very easy with that. And then you just come up here to this. I just customized it to where I think I have it at 4.3. But the reason why I decided to start cutting this way is because of the fact that when you do this is, I think, like a 4x4 sheet. It's just one big circle, and I tried cutting up and I tried cutting down, and I tried the offset, moving these up and back forth. It was literally a very headache, okay? And that's why one of the main reasons I invested as much money as I did in the 250 is because I'm kind of sick of having to calibrate and find registration marks. I just want to be able to design my stuff, get my cut lines on there, and send it to the print and have it print cut and be done with it, right? And so I noticed when I do the air calibration with the big circle, at least for me, it was too hard for me to determine how many, pluses or minuses I need to do. So by doing it this way, I was able to see more of exactly how close to the left, how close downward, or whatnot than the calibration circle. And I was able to, after about 5 or 6 prints, able to figure out that it seemed to me that it was just not cutting to the left. That left side was just cutting way too far over to the right. Or wait a minute, it's like it was cutting too far to the left per se, but it was like the image was too far to the right. And after spending hours and hours doing this, and this was my second day doing this calibration, I noticed this print position, and I thought to myself, if I could just get the image printed to the left just a wee bit, then it would probably cut perfectly, because that's it. Ideally, what's going on here is it was all to the right. The image was to the right too much. I needed the image to just the left just a wee bit. So what did I do? I decided to play with the print position, and I moved it. And I literally moved it. I think I moved it to 0.3, and bam, I could see a huge difference. I was like, oh my God, I figured it out. So I ended up changing the print position instead of the cut position, and that fixed my problem. So I will show you now the actual stickers of what I did and show you the examples. But seriously, like, if you're having the calibration issue, I would probably do like maybe 2 or 3 of these and see if this fixes it. If not, then I would definitely go ahead and just make yourself a couple smaller images to kind of see where that print is. Because for me, maybe it's just my eyesight, but it was really hard for me to determine on this image which way I needed to do it. And once I figured out on the smaller images, I was like, okay, I've got that correct. It feels like, because it keeps on printing. Like, I literally couldn't get it to print or cut anymore to the other side that I needed. It literally was like, why am I trying the cut portion of it? And that's when I was like, you know what? I took pictures with my cell phone of this, so that way I could keep track of it just in case, because I was writing it down. But I was like, you know what? I just want to make sure. And that's when I just changed the print position. I was like, bam, done and done. And now I've been able to laminate without any issue, and I have been able to do some print and cuts without lamination. And one thing I did notice, though, is when you switch the print settings into the lamination mode, which is not currently on here, and you click on this, at least for me, it seemed like this here was changing this to a 2, and this being done at a 2 or 3 did not seem to affect my sticker cut. So I'm not sure why it changed this a couple of times, but it did. This is very, very sensitive, so do not touch these at all. But once you've got it, like, I have been able to do so many print and cuts, and it's like totally amazing. But let me go ahead and now show you what the stickers look like, so that way you can have an understanding of the frustration that I went to. And hopefully this might help anybody out there if you are having the calibration issues that I was having, and just maybe try to do a print position cut when you feel like your cutter is just not getting any better. But anyway, here we go to show you the actual prints. Alright, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys these cuts. So this is what I first started cutting with, and if you notice on this, and I'm going to try to get the camera to zoom really good in on these. Let's see where we can get it right about. There, I think you can kind of see. And what we're looking at is the edge. If you notice on the left side, on the little girl here, you can see a huge amount of white border around the little girl, and then on the right side, it's not so big. It's very, very much too much white border on the left side, you would think. And so I did a huge amount of this on these big sheets, and this is, I mean, I love how it prints, but as you can tell, like on this flower, for an example, on this one, you could just see that the actual print here looked like, and that's honestly why I went to the print cutting instead of the actual cutter, is because like, dude, it looks like the print is just literally too far to the left. And I literally just changed the print head, and bam, it literally fixed it. But I did a huge amount of these sheets, and it slowly, you can kind of see, it did slowly start getting just a little bit. And I'm telling you, like, maybe a hairline closer. Like, this one's looking a lot better than the other one, and you can kind of see how that is. But it was like, man, this is just not, you know, this is not acceptable, because I mean, I sell these in my shop, so I mean, I want to be able to advertise, you know, that I have really good looking stickers, and I wouldn't buy this, you know. This would be like, oh, someone doesn't know how to use their cutter, you know. And so this is how I figured out that I was having an issue. Okay, this is what the calibration looks like, and as you can tell, compared to the size of my hand, I mean, this is a good, what, I would say 4x4 at least, because these are 4x6s, so I mean, you can see the difference on that. And then I guess it's not really 4x4, it's 4.75 on the width, and then the height on that is a good, oh, I would say about 4 inches, a little bit more than that. But this here is how they want you to calibrate it, which what I was doing is I would do the calibration thing, and I was writing what it was and what I'm changing it to, and just seeing how much of a vast difference I would be able to make it. But here you can see, and let me see if I can kind of show you what you're kind of looking for here. But what it does is it prints the round circle, okay, and then it cuts it, and so you can kind of see on the edge here, it's got a little bit of a white there, and so you're literally supposed to be like looking at these lines and like counting them or whatnot. And it's like on this one, you can kind of see that this one cut right on. It looks really good. Not that much of the gray was left on the white, which is a good aspect, but you can see like here it's white, and then over here you can see more grays coming, and it's like, okay. So I counted my lines. I did this several times, and I was writing, you know, on here exactly, you know, what the setting's going to, so that way I could kind of verify. And I seriously did like 20 of these. And then the next day we did some magnets, and the magnets didn't do too bad. Let me show you some of those. Yeah, the magnets at first did not do too bad. And I don't know if maybe it was the magnets that kind of threw my cutter off, but by the second magnet, I think it is this one here. Let me see if I can see it. Okay, yep, this is the one. I don't know if you can see this, but let me see if I can get that zoomed in on that. I am so sorry, camera's having some issues picking that up. Okay, I don't know if you could see right here, but you could definitely see with the cut, it's got a lot of white border, and then it almost cuts right into the top on these. And this one here, it's really hard to see this. It's literally, I'm trying to see, there we go. You can kind of see here, this is the bottom of the cut, and it's literally like right smack, almost like a die cut on here. Let me see if I can show it to you this way. Yeah, you can see where it's cutting. It literally cut into my image. I was like, what in the world? So I did mess with the calibration thing on these, and I did end up getting it, like this one went right smack into it, but I was able to finally get it to where it started moving it downwards. So on this one here, you could see that it actually was on top of it. So I was like, yay, I'm getting it to work. And I honestly wonder if, because of the fact that I ran magnets through it, it threw my cuts off. But I have written down, and I definitely recommend take a photo of your you know, your settings before you do any of that, because of the fact that, you know, that way in the case that you do the magnets or you do the stickers, you kind of know exactly what you're at before. And that's what I typically do, is I'll write it down when I even did water slides or stickers or anything, just so I know what to do. Now in between the calibration, I did do a print one just to see what that did. And when you do the print one, which is on the right side of the print hub, this is what happens. And it literally just dumps the ink, and you can see how it lines up on here. And I apologize, I don't know if that's coming through as good as I wanted to. Let me see if I get my fingernails out and might focus better. Okay, but okay, so if you notice on here, it looks really, really good, except right here on this, it's just kind of over on the edge just a wee bit, and I don't know if that was just a bleed line error, but it's here and here, and it's a little bit on the edge on this one. Whoops, I'm sorry, I wasn't even in the camera. So you can see it right here a little bit, and here, and then a little bit right on this one. So pretty much 1, 2, 3, you can kind of see how the middle to the top is just over just a wee bit. And that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute, let's take a look at the print. And that's what, I was like, let's try the print instead of being moved over, and that worked. But just to give you an idea of how it looks now, so this is one of my laminated stickers that I did, and this one looks phenomenal. I mean, this is amazing, and this is laminated, which means that not only did I have to go into the settings and change them a wee bit for the pressure of it, but I had to turn on lamination mode. So I was kind of scared with the thickness of this, because the main thing between this and the magnet's really thick compared to the paper. I mean, you've got literally paper compared to magnet, and that is not picking up on the camera, I'm sorry. But this is like a fridge magnet. You might be able to put this on the car. I have not tested it 100%, but you can definitely see the thickness on this. So I do think maybe this might have moved it over a little bit. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to prove it. Haven't done it again. But this here is thicker than these here. So as you can tell, this one has no lamination on it, and this one has lamination, and this is absolutely perfect printed. I did have to change the knife pressure setting on it, so I was kind of apprehensive about it, but honestly, it seems to be doing really, really good now. And so I did end up cutting down, these are my smaller sheets. I know I mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but these are the smaller sheets that I ended up doing just to try to get that printer to go ahead and cut it a bit better. But you can actually see how this, let's see if I can get that detected. I have to get the light literally shining on it, I apologize. But you can kind of see how it's not as bad on this one. So this is an almost right on. It's just, you can kind of see up here on the heel part. I don't know if you can see it, because I like to look at every aspect, because I know with Silhouette Studios and like the cameos and all that, sometimes if the sheet of paper is just a little bit too far to the left or to the right, it's going to get your cut off. I don't want that. That's why I invested this amount of money in this machine. But as you can tell, like on this mirror image, it's really too far to the right on that one. And then on this one's way off. This one's really bad. So that one, these are just duds. I wouldn't even sell these. These might go in my oopsies, but like, seriously, that's just embarrassing. But this one, you can kind of see, it's like, oh wow, one was doing a die cut at this point. There's like no offset. And then we started getting better. Now look at that one. You can definitely see, well, it did start getting a little bit better on this one. This is a huge difference on it. I wish that it would pick it up better for you guys. I am so sorry. I'm trying to get this into the camera. There we go. One of you can see that. But you can see how it's almost, the off-white is, or offset, excuse me, the white around it is almost spot on this one. That one's really good. And so what I was doing is I literally just wrote it down exactly what the setting was, so that way I could make sure I had moved it over. But once I did the print, move instead of just the cutter, then it looked really good. But yeah, this is where it is now. And now it's, one of these is where it actually is now. I think it's this one. It's, I think it is this one here, but you can see how it's almost right smack on it now. And I did do one of these, which this is a this is right smack on, like it literally, when I pulled the yeah, so this is the first one I did of this, and this is the second one, and I'm putting these on my car. So I've laminated, this one's laminated, but with this one here, this is like a die cut. It has no offset, okay, but this one here is spot on. And so when I did this here, you can see if I started pulling this up, there is like on the edge, let's It's really hard to grab some of these. But on the edge of it, it's literally like right smack on it, which is amazing. I mean, that looks awesome compared to what it was. But I just wanted to show you guys exactly, you know, what we were looking at and what I had to do. Here's another one that I did. These are both both laminated. And as you can tell, you should be able to see this one really good with the offset of the white border around it. It's very evenly spaced. And this one was just done yesterday. So now the only difference between these is the actual printer's color. And so I would do a tutorial or video on what I did different on this. And this is just the basic, you know, just pretty much going into the setting and actually changing the color graphic difference of it. But I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love how it printed. It's a very smooth, clean cut, no edges. I didn't have to clean anything up at all. That's what we're looking for when we try to print a sticker. So these are considered labels. I like to call them stickers because I don't really sell them as labels, but it is actual label paper. But it makes really good stickers. So yeah, but I just wanted to kind of go over that with you guys and the frustrations. I mean, I have done a huge amount of stickers since then, and you can kind of just see, won't show every one of them up here on the offset, but you can see, like, once it started going, I was so impressed. Like on these, they started printing amazingly. I mean, this is what we want. This is why you spend as much money as you do on this when you're in the, you know, the business that you're trying to, you know, sell good professional items. You know, you definitely want it to be able to do the job that it's intended to. So once I figured out the print cutter settings, I was like, you know what, other people might be having the same frustration I did. So I thought I'd share that for you. If you have any questions or comments, definitely post it down below, and I'll be happy to answer any of those you've got. Again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and watch my next video. Thank you so much.